Hi and welcome to A World of Words. This is part 2 of my September wrap-up. So I ended up having a lot more to say on these books and it took a lot longer than I thought it would, so I decided to split my September wrap-up into 2 parts. That way, instead of just saying like I read this book, I read this book, I read this book, you can kind of have like a mini book talk on each one because I didn't actually film any actual book talks this month. So this is going to be the second part of my September wrap-up. So I'm just going to go right into the next book that I read. The next book I read was An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This was the Reading and Rambling book of the month for September, and if you want to go join the Reading and Rambling book club, please do. I will leave the link in the description as always. I also really enjoyed this book. I didn't really know much about the plot going into it, so I was a little bit surprised by just how dark and how violent it was. And now I'm going to go into the spoilers for this one, and when I put it down again, it'll be safe. So the commandant was just really awful, and all of the punishment she gave to her slaves were just really tough to read about. Also, I didn't know what to expect from the trials. They briefly mentioned something about trials in the summary synopsis thing, but I didn't really know what to expect from it, and those were also very violent. Oh, and just the general culture of the marshals was pretty rough. I know it's supposed to be rough and awful, but was it a light, happy read? I'll just say that. Oh, and I couldn't stand Helene? I don't know if it's Helen or Helene, so I'm gonna call her Helen. Yeah, I just really couldn't stand her and her just complete and utter acceptance of the rules. She changed a little bit, but by that point I was actually already just so sick of her, and I was really sick of Elias talking about her constantly, just like how beautiful she is, and I was just really sick of Helen by the point that she actually became better. And also the masks. I had a really hard time picturing the mask. They mold to their faces and they talk and stuff. I don't know, I couldn't picture them when they were described as wearing the masks. Most of the book, really, I couldn't picture it. I didn't picture them wearing masks. I pictured them without masks. So it was really weird, and I don't know if this is going to be a movie or TV show or anything. I think maybe in the future, I don't know. But if they do, like, I don't know how they're going to do the masks because that's just weird, and I think that's going to be kind of off-putting. But there were some really good lines that came out of nowhere that were really funny in this book, and I really enjoyed those. So I know that Sabaa Tahir does have the potential to write something a little bit lighter. I also really liked how the supernatural element that is just kind of mentioned as a legend in the beginning actually turned out to be something real in the book later on. So basically, I did really enjoy the book, and I don't know if it's like 100% my kind of story, but at this point I am intrigued and I am going to read the sequel. So I think I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars. And next I read Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. First of all, the pages are just so cool for this book. And since this is the sequel to Six of Crows, which is a fantasy heist novel that is multiple perspective, and it kind of goes back into their backstories as they are also preparing for this dangerous heist, and this is in the Grisha universe. There are a couple Grisha, so we do have some magic powers and all of that in there, and Six of Crows was just really, really good. I highly recommend it. So I'm going to kind of jump into spoilers for this one now because it is a sequel, so it's kind of hard to talk about it without giving stuff away, especially the way the last one ended. So I did kind of take notes while reading, so go through those a little bit. So first of all, the whole Inej situation. When she is imprisoned and they threaten to break her leg, and then Inej was like, no, he won't want me if I'm broken. That was just so sad and so heartbreaking that she thought that. Even though, like, we know it's not true, it was just pretty terrible. She thought that, and then she had to go through that in general because even if, you know, it wasn't about Kaz, this is a terrifying situation and they're horrible. I also really love the scene when they have like the pregnant Alice with them and they're talking about Nina's cookies. I know, like she's giving the cookies to Alice and she doesn't want to share her cookies and all of that stuff, and it was really funny. This book had so many funny scenes and I absolutely loved it. So also with Nina, I really hated that she had to go through withdrawal because she was so good. I love her so much, and I loved her so much in the first book that the fact that she was suffering like that was just awful. And then when you learn her new power, that's insane and kind of disturbing, but it's still pretty insane, and I guess it was cool. I don't know, I'm not that into zombies, so it's a little gross, but it was also very interesting and I feel very different. Oh, also Dunyasha, that chick who was like going after Nej, she reminded me of someone from an anime because the way she just kind of appeared on the tightrope where Nej was, the way she just kind of appeared there and was like giggling and then like started throwing stuff at her. I'm like, this looks like a scene from an anime. I don't know. Because like, people are always appearing in weird places in animes, I guess. They're always just like suspended up high in the air for no reason. I love how Nej and Kaz finally like kind of admitted that they liked each other. I was so happy about that. I love Jesper's character development in this. He had a lot of amazing lines and he was super funny. And Willen was really good. I call him Willen. I don't know if it's Willen or Wylan, but I call him Willen because it's like Dylan with a W. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I call him. I really liked their parts. Again, I don't want to make this too long, so I can't go into too many details. Then we have Matthias. I thought his death was pretty upsetting because he just got shot for essentially no reason at all. There was really no reason for that because it wasn't like he saved anyone's life. He just like died randomly, and I guess he had changed his mindset, so I guess he had a lot of character growth, and that's good. His death didn't really change anything, and it didn't really, I feel like she kind of just put that in there just to kill someone. I don't know. I just started to like Matthias. He had been my least favorite character, so if somebody were to die in the book, I would have chosen him. But I was still sad that it happened because by that point, as I said, I'd gotten attached to him. So I was pretty upset about that part. Except for that part, I really enjoy this book so much, and I thought it wrapped everything up really nicely, even though it felt like there was almost potential for something more to happen, and that was a little confusing because I thought it was a duology, but I guess she's keeping her options open, which is fine by me. And the next book I read was by far the most disappointing book I've read this month and for a long time. I know, it sounded so amazing in the description, but it wasn't, or at least it wasn't for me. And that is because I honestly feel like I was lied to by whoever marketed this book. I don't know how much the author has to do with the marketing or with like the blurb and everything, but like what they say happens in this book is not what happens. Like it's vaguely what it's about, but it's not what it's about. And I'll just say real quick, like this isn't even a spoiler because you learn it really quickly once you open the book. It says it's about Mirabella, a fierce elemental who, you know, she can do flames and all that, and that is true. Mirabella does have powers. But they say Catherine is a poisoner who can ingest the deadliest poisons without so much as a stomach ache. Book opens up, first thing we learn is that Catherine cannot in fact ingest poisons. She hasn't gotten her powers yet. And also, Arsinoe, a naturalist, is said to have the ability to bloom the reddest rose and control the fiercest of lions. Again, we learn, first off, in her perspective, she does not have that magical ability. So first off, they say that they have these abilities. They don't actually have these abilities. One of the three has the abilities. Second, they say it is about a fight to the death for the girls, which is going to happen at some point, I assume, but it does not happen in this book. This book is 400 pages of setup for what they tell you is going to happen. Like, they don't even get to the competition in the book. And that's not really a spoiler, because I feel like it should be known that it doesn't happen in this book, so maybe somebody who reads it kind of going into it, knowing what to expect, will enjoy it more than I did. because I was kind of just like, when are we going to get to the awesomeness that is described? We never really got there. This is multiple point of view, and I usually love multiple point of view, but I didn't love this one because I feel like each girl has her own chapters, and so first 3 chapters we are introduced to the girl plus like a million other people, and it's really hard to figure out who is who. So you're spending like the first 3 chapters just confused, actually more than the first 3 chapters, just like really confused and wondering what's going on, because there are all these characters and I can't keep them straight. And one thing that really confused me was there's a character named Luke and a character named Luca. Why? That is so confusing. I thought they were the same character for like almost the entire book, and I was so confused. I really only like Mirabella because the other ones were kind of sad and kind of, I don't know, for some reason I just couldn't connect to any of the characters. It did have a good ending, I guess, like the last little bit of the book had some action, just it wasn't my favorite, and I just feel like the marketing, it was really misleading, and that's part of why I was kind of angry at the book for most of the time that I was reading it. So maybe if you know what it really is, you can go into it with like an honest idea of what it is going to be. It is all of them preparing for that competition that I guess is going to happen in the future, and it's about their lives and stuff, and you can go into it doing that and do what you will with that information. So those were all the books that I read in September. Let me know what books you read in September, or if you read any of the same books that I did, because I would love to hear about what you're reading. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I upload new videos on Mondays and every other Friday, plus the occasional surprise video, so subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye!